Hello everyone, welcome to another Promine free course today. My name is Paulina Gallego. I'm an account executive for Promine, and today our course will be about face mapping. Please let's wait a couple of minutes while people finish to join us to start. Thank you so much. Well, hello everyone again. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our course will be about face mapping. My name is Paulina Gallego, and I am an account executive. So first of all, we are going to have a short presentation about Promine, and then we are going to start with the course, okay? Remember, if you have any questions, you can use the Q&A or the chat button here in Zoom to ask, wherever question you have. And we are going to answer the questions during the during the course or at the end. Okay, so let's start. Well, first of all, I'm going to give you a brief introduction about us as a company. Promine is a Canadian company that it's established in 1993 and offers software services for the mining industry, focused on underground mine design, survey, and geology tools for underground mine. And in our background and clients, we are trusted by over 100 clients around the world, and we have a strong presence in Canada, US, Mexico, Peru, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Central America, and Africa too. Our mission is to help our customers be more efficient and more profitable in just a few clicks. So now let's talk a little bit about the software. So Promine, it's a software solution that it's built by mining, survey, and geology experts. It is an extension of AutoCAD, the AutoCAD software, and provide additional functionality specifically oriented towards the mining industry. Our focus is the development of the technology for underground mines, survey, as well as mining geology. So what is Promine? Well, Promine, it's mainly divided in six categories. I'm going to show you them afterward once we are in AutoCAD. And those are essentials, modeling, engineering, surveying, dilution, and projects. And Promine addresses one of the most critical issues in the mining and the geology software, that it's the lack of the complete integration from the exploration to the production. So now a little bit about what we offer. Well, in these six modules, six categories, sorry, that I just mentioned, there are 27 easy to use Learn modules. They are divided into six main categories, and all those modules are for mine design, planning, underground work, modeling and design, survey, drilling, blasting, dilution, estimation using artificial intelligence, among others. We also offer a unique tool on the market to work in a collaborative way between different departments and on divisions. This is thank you to Filer, one of our modules, that also assure you a high level security for your information. We are an operational solution, very practical and intuitive, specialized in short-term daily tasks. So if you already have a background in AutoCAD, use Promine. It's going to be very, very easy for you. We also assure you a 100% of compatibility from the service scanners, the software, and the databases of the market. And finally, we have six powerful CAD categories, as I mentioned before, that I designed for diamond drill holes importation, block model using Kurgan, resources, estimation, implicit model, and mod. Well, so now I'm going to give you a brief introduction about the module we are going to use today, that it's phase map, that it's in the projects category. This module is designed to map geological phases with and assign different rock types to define areas of the phase map. You can also insert geological structures, create tonnage report of the phases, create wedges, assign different structures as faults and joints, and well, much more. We are going to take a look of that in a moment during the course. Also, you can create lanes for the projection of the structures and also export them into a file. So for today class, we are going first of all to learn how to create a phase map, then how to assign structures, lithology and grade, effects to the face maps, how to create, assign the block for the structures, and also create the planes to make the extraction of the structures. Then we are going to learn how to create reports and create wedges too. All right, so now let's go to this software. I'm going to share with you here AutoCAD. Okay. All right. So, well, right now, if you have access to the drawing, you can open it. If not, you can also go here to your Essentials category. And I'm going to show you how to open the drawing just in a second. I would like to mention that, the categories that I just mentioned are this that we have here: Essentials, Modeling, Engineering, Life Survey, Projects. So in Essentials, you're mainly find all the essentials tools for creation of the different layouts, create sections for your, for your designs, create a library for, have the library for create the different blocks. Also in the part of the Promine tool, manage everything related with the different grades that you're going to create by default, and manage your license, update your Promine. These are mainly the features that you're going to have here in Promine tools. But also you have Filer. There it's the manager of the layers that you can use in order to share your drawings in your company between the different departments, and be sure that or warranty more assurance at the moment of use it. So, if you don't have the drift right now opened, you should have a demo folder already installed, so you can go to Insert Layers. Then go to Levels, select the level 1200, and then 3D Drift. After that, you only need to click on Add in order to add it to the column that it's going to show you all the layers that are going to be added in your drawing. And finally, click on OK to have it open as I have it here. So this one, it's one more basic. This is basically the drawing you're going to have once you do that operation. And we are going to start. So face map, you are going to find face map in the projects category in this part here. So I would like to know if you have any questions up to here, or everything is clear in order to start with the explanation of the module. Remember that you can use the chat button here or also the Q&A button. All right, it looks like there is not any question so far, so let's start. So the first thing we are going to take a look in, it's the options of the module. As you can see, this icon, it's presented in all the different modules that you're going to find here, also in the other categories too. This icon represents the properties or the options of each module. So if you're going to define any different values as default for different operations, for example, as the density, or which is going to be the line weight. Also, there are different features for each module. It's not the same for all of them, but you are going to find the options button where you can set all these default features. So let's click on it. And I'm going to briefly explain you the mainly features that we are going to find here in the mapping options. So at the moment of create a report, you can have different round And you can set which is going to be the round length and the round height too, as well as the report scale in this part. So once you insert the report, it's going to be inserted. Well, the size is going to be it's going to be taken from this part of here. Now let's go to the tonnage categories. So at the moment of create the reports, you can divide all the different calculations of your different litologies or your different grades, or the grades in your litologies, and divide it by categories to make the calculations. So you can create as many categories as you want, just clicking here on add, and well, then set a category name. It's going to be basically that, because then the system, what it's going to do, it's take that category name, take the different litologies that you assigned for that category, and at the end, make the calculation to give you the total of the tonnage and the total of the volume too. Okay. Now, if you want to set all the tonnages presented in your drawing in the same category, you can activate that option, as well if you want to split the tonnage by rock category. However, at the moment of add your report, these two options are available there too in order to activate it or deactivate them. Okay. Now, once you insert your face map, you are going to have a grid. That grid is going to have a main grid and a secondary grid. This is the size of the main grid and the secondary grid. The grid color is going also to be selected here. And the main grid is going to have aligned more, it's going to be thick than the secondary grid. So in that way, you can know which one is according to, well, the size also. Then we have the grade annotations. In the grade annotations, you can decide if you would like to insert the grade texts. This is going to be the value of the grade that you're going to assign to the different elements presented in your litology. But also, if you would like to add the units, as for example, grams per ton, per tonnage, or percentage, you can also activate include label in order to put the units at the moment of make the annotation. Also, you can configure the text height. Well, now for the report, once you insert a report, you are going to have another report that it's the report annotations that can have these values that you are seeing here. For the moment, if you don't have it, well, just select user coordinates and azimuth. It's going to show us the name of the user that create that face map, also the azimuth of the face map, as well as the coordinates where it was added. So in order to select them, you only need to click on it. And if you're going to select more than one at the same time, you only need to click hit Control at the same moment that you click on the different names. And that's it. Now let's go to the part of the density computation. So in the density computation, you have, the system have two possibilities in order to calculate the volume. So the first one, it's going to be use the rock type densities. The rock type densities, if we go to essentials in Promine options, you can type the password. By default, it's going to be the word options. Otherwise, it's going to be the one that you set if you make the configuration differently. You hit enter, and here on Litology, you are going to find a list of different litologies that are there. If it's the same, if is this the first time that you installed Promine. However, you can add, edit, or remove the different litologies that are here. But for example, if I click in granite and I click on edit, as you can see, it's going to have a density assigned. So this is going to be the type rock density. that the system is going to use for make the calculation. For the case of zone, for example, is going to be 1, the density. Okay, so now let's go back to face map and to show you the other density. So the density computation, well, we have the use type density that, as I mentioned, is going to use that density that we said before, or is going to use one of these densities that we have here. Now, in order to select one of these densities, as you can see in this density computation, you have the possibility to calculate your density from the grade of a certain mineral using this formula that you have here. So this is going C0, Z1 are going to be these constants here, C1, C2, C3, and for A1, A2, A3 are going to be the grades of these different values. So A1 for this one, A2 for this one, A3. Now, if you don't want to make any calculation and just set a specific value for your density, you can only set the value here in the constant Z0. For example, in our case, it's going to be 2.75, and then put 0 for the other constants. So at the moment of the formula, the density is going to be equal to C0, and that's it. That is going to be 275. And well, you can set a name for that density computation to being able to recognize it at the moment of making the calculations. And that's it. You only need to click on OK. And here we are going to select the rock type and click on default. Okay. If you have another different one, in this part is going to put you the name of the default value that the system is going to use for make the calculations. So in our case, it's going to be test. And yeah, you only need to be sure that it is going to mention test in this part. If you don't have it added yet, you can either edit one of the densities that it's already on the list, or click on add in order to add a new one. And that's it. Then we have the grade conversion. So for the grade conversion, basically it's going to be when you have different minerals and you want to represent one and the number of the other one, you can make that conversion and the calculation. So for example, here we have the sulfur and the nickel. I'm going to click on edit. And what basically this is going to represent is that if we have any sulfur in our lithology, we would like to multiply it by this factor, 0.1, and automatically it's going to be equal to the nickel grade. Okay, so at the moment of the report's not going to show us the sulfur total of grade, the total of volume, etc., but it's going to show us in terms well, the values in terms of nickel, because everything that it's sulfur is going to or represented it in terms of nickel. Okay, is clear that part? All right. Well, we are close to finish our options. So also we have here a, let me close this window. We have the structure type. Basically, the structure type is going to be the block that is going to represent the azimuth and the depth of a structure in a certain zone. Because, for example, here we have a structure and we have the structure type or the block that represents, in this case, the depth of the azimuth, the depth, sorry, of the a fault or the structure in this point, but I can add different blocks in different parts of the structure. So you can, in your Promine, you are going to have if you go to, let me stop sharing my screen and share it again. Okay, now you can see in your folder config, Promine config FMP, you are going to have the different blocks here that you can use in order to represent those folds. So as you can see, it's going to show you that in this part, it's going to show the value of the azimuth, dip, sorry, and in this part, the azimuth. And you have, well, different, in this moment, by default, you're going to find in your Promine three different blocks. All right. Well, let's open the options again. So in this part are the structure types. You can create different structures. And at the moment of the creation of the structures, you can set the scale, the block that is going to represent that structure, that are the blocks that I just showed you before. And also you can select if you would like to display the dip and the azimuth, or, well, just one of them. In this case, the blocks that we are going to add are going just to show us the dip. And also, if the polyline has a color assigned, as in this case, as you can see, my fold, it's orange, the one that's behind. If you would like to assign the same color to the structure, you can select same color as polyline, and that's it. And now let's go to the custom, that it's basically the line or the polyline that represent different structures. So you can basically create a list, add as many you want, and you can assign a line type in order to represent that structure. You can also set a scale, set a color, and set a line weight. So in our case, you can see this, this is the fold that we just selected, is this fold number 1. And this is going to be the line type. As you can see, it has different shapes, a pattern that it's going to be repeated for along all the structure. And well, it's the color that is assigned as we saw before. And finally, you can select a TXT file in this part in order to export the folds, or the structures. And you can select the exportation file, create a TXT file in your computer, then select export file, select the TXT file, and that's it. Automatically, the system is going to take the path here. And once you select on export results, it's going to be exported there. And that's it. Please be sure you have the same values that I have here configure, that we configure step by step to, at the end, get the same results and be sure that everything worked well, okay? I would like to know if you have any questions up to here, or everything is clear up to here. All right, so let's start with the first command in the module. That is create phase. So basically with this command, we are going to be able to create a section automatically. And in that section, the system is going to take the value of the height and the weight of the grid, and it's, of the drift, and it's going to create the grid there. So let's click on the command. And in this part of the drift, you can either you can select a little bit far away off the drift to make the section, and the system is going to detect the drift automatically. So let's pick here across this other side, and the system, as the same with sections, is going to ask if you would like to make it and looking in this direction or in the other one. If you would like to make it in the opposite direction, you can select no. But if you're going to make it looking in this direction, you can select yes. In this case, we are going to select yes. Now, for this section that it's going to be created, the system is going to ask you for a section name. You can add well, the name of your preference, but also you can click on get a new name, and automatically the system is going to assign the current date to the section name, the year, the month, and the day too. Then, as you can see, the system detects the height and the width of the drift in order to create the section, as well as the floor elevation. This drift is at the elevation 1200, so for that, it automatically will put the value here. However, if you would like to change the elevation of your grid, the grid that it's going to be created, you can select on pick floor elevation or assign manually a different value. And for the creation of the section, same as the module sections, you can decide if you would like to turn on section layers only and cut the objects that are in the section. So let's let the values as they are, and let's click on OK. Then the system is going to ask you for the grid specification. So as you can see, there are some lines that are more visible than other ones that are, well, the other ones are tiny. So those ones belongs to the secondary grid spacing. And the ones that you can see here are going to be the main grid. So these are going to be squares of 1 by 1. And the little ones that are inside are going to be 0.2 by 0.2. If you would like to modify the values, well, you can set it manually. Also, if you decide to pick a different angle for your grid or pick a different origin and make it like, for example, start a little bit far off the drift, or at the end, if you would like to erase the grid and redo it again, you can select each of these three options for what I just mentioned. But right now we are going just to let the grid as it is, and we are going to click on OK. So this is how the grid is going to be created. So as you can see, there are some lines, as I mentioned, that are more representative. There are these ones, and these are the main grid. Okay. Questions up to here? We can now continue. All right. Well, now the next step is going to be assign or create different structures in order to assign different litologies. So if you draw a polyline using the command polyline, like this, and then you would like to assign a structure to that polyline that it's created, you can click on this command here, that it's draw custom polylines, and click on assign. Then select from the custom line type, that are the ones that we saw in the options. So you can select any of those custom lines and then click on OK, click on the polyline and assign the structure type. However, you can also draw your own polyline using the structure type from the beginning. So for do that, you can select the option draw, then select which is going to be the line type. In our case, we are going to select fold 1, and we are going to click on OK. We are going to start, in order to start to draw your fold that it's going to represent in order to start to draw your structure, you need to be sure that is going to be a little bit far away or at least in the limit of your drift, because otherwise, if there is an empty space, is going at the moment of assigning different hatches, is going to make the coloration of everything, and it's not going to take into account the separation by the structure. Okay, So to be sure that this is not going to happen, we are going to start a little bit far, for example, here. And we are going to start to assign a litological here. And we are going to finish here. Okay. Then let's click on draw again. Fold number 1, click on OK. And let's draw the other one. Do not if you're drawing your line and you're going to zoom in and zoom out and the line disappears, do not worry that it's going to appear afterward, because when you are drawing your fold, it makes temporary visualization of the fold. But at the end, once you hit on enter, it's going to be created, okay? And that's it. And if you would like to redo or assign a different line type to your line, you can click on reset, select your line, and then click on assign again and select a different line type. But for the moment, we are going just to let it as it is. And we have already created our litological contacts, okay? So now the next step is going to be assign the litologies. In order to assign the litologies, we have the command number 3 here, that it's insert rock types. So once you click on the command, it's going to ask you to pick any polyline. You can select, any of these lines that belongs to the grid. In that case, the system is going to detect which is the grid and how it can distribute the different hatches across the face map you have right now. So we are going to click here in one of these lines, and there we are going to hit on enter. Then for the boundaries, the system is going to ask you if you would like to select the objects that are on the screen or select objects as litological contacts. This is used in plant view when you have other different objects, and you will need to select which is going to be your drift and profile, which is going to be your litological contact, or for your structure, and so on. So if you're in a section view, you can select objects on a screen and then select in which layer you would like to store the different hatches. As you can see, by default, it's going to select the layer of the current section. So let it as it is, and let's just click on OK. Now it's going to show us the list of the different litologies we have available. Remember that the litologies we have here are the same that are unessentials that are configured. So you are going to have the list of all the litologies you have there, and you need to select one of them, or the one you are going to assign. In our case, we are going to select zone. After select zone, let's hit, click on OK. And then we need to pick a point inside of the area in order to assign the hatch. So if I'm going to add the zone hatch in this area, we can pick here. And as you can see, automatically the system is not going to go beyond the line that we assign for our structure. After assign the litology or the hatch, we are going just to hit enter and then set the different grade types that we are going to find here. As you can see, you can say, you have available the list of the different grades that are also configured in your essentials category in your Promine tools module. So we are going to set gold in a value of 2 grams per ton, and silver, for example, let's put a value of 150. And let's click on OK. Then the system is going to allow you to specify the point in order to add the annotation of the grid that the litology has assigned. Then automatically the system or the window is going to show up again, and you can select the next litology. So for example, let's select B3. You click on OK. Once again, let's pick a point inside the area in order to add the hatch. Let's hit enter. Let's hit, assign the values. 1.5, and let's click on OK. And finally, let's select S4, for example. Let's pick this area. If you would like to add the same hatch to different areas, you can pick different areas at the same time. And then the system, automatically is going to assign the color, assign the lithology, and you can also, in the same way, assign the annotations. So once again, let's hit enter. Let's add the values of gold and silver. Something like this. And click on OK. And as we are not going to assign any other lithology, we are going just to click on cancel. And that's it. Now, let's say that you would like to assign a different lithology in this moment. And you are going to delete the one that you already have, or you would like to edit any of the grades you have available. So we are going to click on this command that it's, just one second, that it's edit rock type. And then we need to select the hatch we would like to edit. So let's say that we are going to edit the green one. We can either, as you can see, change the rock type, that in this moment is V3, or we can either select or change the value for the grade type. Or, in this case, add a new value or a new grade. And also we can modify the hatch scale. Okay, you can either make it bigger or smaller. And that's it. In order to apply the change, if you would like to, if you put a different value than the ones that I have here, you can also make the modification and click on OK. Select the hatch scale, click on add a value for the hatch scale, and click on OK in order to apply the changes. If you're going just to modify the silver, the value of the gold, let's put for the hatch scale 1 in order to do not make any change on this hatch scale, and click on OK in order to apply the changes. Okay, and that's it. So now we are able to create our report. I would like to know if you have any questions so far up to here, or if we can continue. All right, so it looks like there is not any questions, so let's continue. Now we are going to create the report. So in order to create the report, we are going to use the command that we have here, that is report. Once we click on it, it is going to show us the the menu to select the different options. The first one, it's the wrong location. So you can set, which in our case, we can put, for example, the level of the round is going to be the 1200. And then the round numbers. So as is the first phase map, the first drill we do in this drift, we are going to set the number 1. Then by default, the system is going to set the date. And you can also set which is going to be the length of your blast one stone. So in our case, we are going to use 4 meters, and this 4 meters is the value that the system is going to use in order to make the calculation of the volume. Okay, so please take that in mind at the moment of, finally get your report. Then we have the by. The system, again, is going automatically to take the name of the person that is currently doing the work. And you need to select the grades that you would like to show in your report. So as we have silver and gold, we are going to select both of them. In the same way, if you are going to select more than one, you need to hit Control and then click of the different elements you would like to add in your report. If you would like to export the results, you can select the export file that it's the same as we set in the options, or select a different one. As I also mentioned in the options, you have here all hatches in the same category. Remember that if you would like to change set one single category, you can activate the option and then select in which category you would like to add all the hatches in your drawing. But in our case, we are going to set them in different categories, so we are not going to use this option. Then we are going to have the density. If you would like to use the density from the rect type, that is the one that we set in Essentials, you can activate this option. Otherwise, you can select from the list the density you would like to use. So in our case, we are going to use test. That is the one that we set to 2.75. All right. And let's just click on OK. Now, in this pop-up window, we are going to apply the different hatches. So the first one is going to be, let's select OR. And then let's select the hatch or the hatches that are going to be added to that category. So let's select the red one. You need to be sure here in the system, it says 0 found. So you need to be sure you are selecting the hatch. And the system is going to show you 1 found, 1 total. And also let's select the blue one. So now it shows 1 found, 2 total. And let's hit on enter in order to finalize and set the next rock type, the next category. In our case, it's going to be, for example, waste. And we are going to select the green hatch. It says 1 pound, so okay, I already detected it. And let's hit enter to finalize and hit select cancel in order to finish and create your report. And that's it. So as you can see, as we selected the red part as well as the blue one, is going to make the calculation of the grains or sorry, the grade that are for gold and for silver. It's a pondered a weighted average for the values. It's not going to make a sum like a direct sum. It's going to make an average weight. And also, well, it's going to calculate the area according to the shape of your lithology or your hatch, and the tonnage for finally for the area you selected. Remember, for the tonnage, the system is going to take into account the value that you set here in the length. Okay. So if you change the length in this case, automatically the tonnage is going to change in this part. And that's it. Now, let's say that you would like to calculate in your report. You have this option here that is select report area. So let's imagine you would like to, let's create a small area here. And for the polyline, let's here click here in order to bring the polyline here. Let's put it in the front. Okay. Okay, we can try, let me see, redo it again. A PL line type. If you need to be sure that your polyline type is in 1 or 2 in order to draw polylines in sections. So now we can try again. And now let's try again to bring it to the front. Or maybe we can P-line type. Can set the value to polyline. I'm going to make it bigger just to be sure I can see it. And let's close it. So I'm going to bring it to the front. Okay. But now we can visualize a little bit of the line. However, we are going to be able to select it. So let's create the report again. And in this time, we are going to activate select report area, and we're going to join the reports. So what we are going to do, it's put a name for the inside area, that it's going to be the report of the area of the poll line created, and the total area that it's going to be basically this report that we created here. Okay, so just to recognize it, I'm going to call this one inside, and this what total. And click on OK. So the system here is going to ask me to select the contouring area. Let me here activate the selection cycling, and I'm going to detect the line. Okay, no. Okay, let me redo the plane again. I'm going to make it a little bit outside of my shape in order to being able to recognize it. In this case, let's select again the report, click on OK. And now I'm going to select the contour of the area, that it's this polyline that I created. Now, as before, we are going to set which are the shapes or the hatches that belongs to ore and which ones belongs to waste. So I'm going to click ore, select the red and the blue hatch, and then waste and the green. And click on cancel in order to create the report. So as you can see, the total report, you have inside report, that it's this one here, and total report. So in total report, you are going to have basically the report that we created before. And in the inside report, we are going to have the calculation of just the area we selected of our polyline. The system is going to automatically detect in the polyline that we created which zones belongs to ore and which ones belongs to waste according to the categorization with it. And that's it. So that's basically how this select report area works. All right, now let's continue to weighted average. I would like to know if there is any questions up to here or everything's clear for now. Okay, so now we can continue with the next command, that it's weighted average. So this command, basically what it does, it's generate a weighted average of different phase map reports that you create. So I'm going to show you in this drawing. As you can see here, I have different phases created. And I'm going to, I already created 3 different reports for 3 different phases. Okay, these ones has different values. So I'm going to return to plan. In order to return to plan, you can either click here on return to plan. That is this command. Also in essentials, you are going to find it here in the sections module. Or you can type in your command line SECP and hit enter. Okay, so now I'm going to click on the command weighted average. And I'm going to select the 3 reports I'm going to use in order to create the weighted average report. So let's, once you select all the reports you would like to use for the calculation, you can hit enter. And automatically you are going to have your weighted average report with the total of the values. Well, in this case, let me show you. In this case, we have these categories, breccia stadial, breccia vein, and breccia, that are basically, let me return to plan, the same categories that we are going to have in the weighted average report. Okay? Well, also, we have move phase map, rotate phase map. We are going to take a look into a bit. We already saw how to draw custom polylines and assign polylines. We have also here the command to create wedges. We are going to take a look into that in a bit, in the last part. And we are going to continue with the structures in order to look how to assign structures, how to create the plane or extrude the structures too, and how to export the structures and, well, and send the structures to back and so on. So I would like to know if you have any questions up to here in order regarding the assigning of the litologies in the phase map, or the creation of the different phase map, the reports, the weighted average, the assignation of the litologies, the creation of the structures, or everything. It's clear so far, so we can continue. Okay. All right. All right. So, well, let's continue with the command insert structure. So in order to insert a structure, let me go back to the other drawing. We are going to return to plan. So remember, it's SEZP. You can hit enter. In this part is the section we just created. That is this one here. We are going to create a structure, and then we are going to assign the block of the structure for the annotation of the tip and the azimuth. Okay, so let's click here on the command as draw. Click on draw and select which one is going to be our line type. In our case, we are going to select fold 1 and click on OK. So I'm going to start drawing a fold in this part. And that's it. And let's click on cancel. It was draw in elevation 0, as you can see, because if I rotate it, I cannot see it. And if I click on the polyline and then I go to the properties, it says that it's at elevation 0. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, it's click on insert structure, and I'm going to select any point of our polyline. So let's say that it's going to be in this part. I'm going to set a name. I can call it, for example, fold in 1. And the location, as it is in the level 1200, so I'm going to put the location. And I'm going to set the elevation for our fold. Sorry. So let's say that it's at the elevation 1201. Then, if you would like to edit the line type, because right now it's fold number 1, that it's the line type that we use at the moment of use the command, you can modify it selecting a different one from the list. But in our case, we are going to let it as it is. And well, also, I forgot to mention that for the elevation, you can set the value manually as I did, or you can click on pick elevation in order to, in the drawing, select a point, and the system automatically is going to take that elevation. Okay. Now, the next step is going to be assign the structure. So I'm going to click on add. The system is going to ask me to pick a point along the polyline or the structure in order to assign our block. So I'm going to pick this side, and then which is going to be the side or the direction of the structure. So for assign the azimuth, so I'm going to select this side. And then, well, depending from where to where you draw your polyline, if you draw it from left to right or right to left, this is going to be the distance from start. So I started drawing it from the other side. This is going to be from this to this part are 14.6 meters in this case. Well, meters because my units are in meters in metric system, but if you are working in imperial system, it's going to be feet in that case, feet in that case. Then you can select which is going to be the dip angle. You can set a value manually. The azimuth is going to be taken according to the location of the structure side. Then the projection distance. This is the distance. Once we go here to extrude, that is this command here, we are going to look how it's going to ask for the projection or the extrusion of the creation of the surface, and it's going to ask for a distance. This distance is the one that the system is going to use as default, okay? But in that moment, we are going to be able to select a different value, so do not worry for that. But please keep in mind that this is the value of the projection distance is going to, well, that the system is going to say is the default one. Then it takes the elevation of the structure, the elevation that we set before, then also the structure type, and you can select which is your rock type. So in our case, we are going, for example, use zone and click on OK. Now, you can add just one single structure or add different ones in one single structure, as I mentioned before. So let's click on Add again. And in this moment, this marker is going to indicate where it's already a structure added. So we are going to add a new one here and select this side for the structure azimuth. So as you can see, is going to change the azimuth now. It's going to keep the same value that we used before. I mean, the system is going to use the last dip angle that you used. Is going to, the distance from here to here is 6.3. I draw the polyline from the right to the left. So that's from here to here is 6.3. From here to here is 14.6. The projection distance, the same. It's going to keep the elevation, the structure type, and for the work type, I'm going to use zone. I'm going to click on OK. And that's it. I'm going just to click on OK. And as you can see, the structures are going to be added automatically. Now, the next step is going to be generate surface. So, well, this is for export the structures in a file. Just let's keep this for a moment. I'm going just to generate the structure, and then I'm going to show you how it exports the structures in the file. So I'm going to click on a structure. I need to select the object or default, in our case, the structure, and hit enter. So now I have these options, and I'm going to explain you step by step. So from the line, you can decide if you would like to extrude up or extrude down, or extrude the line in both directions. If you decide just to extrude up, that means from your polyline to the upper level, you need to select up extrude up, or if you would like to make it in the opposite side, you need to select extrude down. We are going to make it in both sides. Now, the system is going to ask you if you would like to make it in the real distance. That will be that if I, let me rotate it a bit. So that will be that, remember that we said 5 for the projection distance. So that will be 5 meters according to the deep that I set. That is going to be 45 grades. The plane is going to take that angle, and is going to, the measurement is going to be 5 units. If I set vertical distance, that means that the system is going to make a projection of 5 units in a vertical side from our structure, and then it's going to make the projection and make the plane in that direction in order to, well, to keep the 5 meters distance in the vertical distance, okay? So basically that's the difference between these two options. Now, if we, well, the same happen for extrude down. If you select real distance, is going to be 5 meters in taking the angle that you set. But if you select vertical distance, it's going to be 5 meters in the vertical distance. And then the plane is going to be like, well, bigger in this case in order to be until the 5 meters of the vertical distance, okay? As a triangle. So, well, we are going to use the real distance to keep the 5 meters of the plane. And if you remember that we, at the moment of creation of the structure, we set 5 for the value of the units. So if we would like to modify that 5 units and set a different value, we can use do not use default distance and set a different value. So that will be, for example, well, you can set a different value here, 6, but we are going not to, we are going to use the default distance that we set. So you have real distance, vertical distance, but also that these two options use the distance part, this part here of the pop-up window. But also you have a third option that is elevation. Once you click on it, it's going to deactivate the distance option, and it's going to activate this part of the pop-up window here. So basically with elevation, you can set a superior elevation and an inferior elevation for make the extrusion. So what the system is going to do, for example, we are in this moment, the structure is at elevation 1201, right? If you would like to make the extrusion to the level 1000, you can put 1000 here. And then for the superior elevation, if the superior elevation, this drift, it's more or less 4 meters height. So you can set for if the inferior level for this drift is 1200, for this one, it's going to be 1204. Okay, and in that case, the system is going to extrude the structure up to here for the extrude up. And if you decide to extrude down, you can see this option is deactivated if you, well, if you do not check there, it's going to be until the elevation 1000. Okay, so you have, well, we can say, yeah, 3 options is to decide how to extract your polyline. You can use your real distance, vertical distance, and elevation. In our case, we are going just to make it simple. We are going to use real distance, extrude up and down. So that means 5 and 5, and click on OK. And the system, as you can see, is going to make the plane from here to here using the 5 meters real distance. So that means that in this way, the measurement is 5 units, and the same for the up part. All right. So this is for the generate surface. Now, if you would like to export a structure, I'm going to show you in this drawing here. Let's click on export structures. You need to select which is the file you already created in order to export your structures. So in my case, I'm going to use this. We can see this one. Click on save. Yeah, or well, you can select either a new null report or set a file name here to create a new one. So well, let's click on new. This moment is going to be saved in this folder. So I'm going just to click on save and select which are the structures I would like to export. As you can see, when you make a general selection, the system only take into account or recognize the ones that are structures. And you need to hit enter in order to finalize the exportation. So let me show you here in my computer, well, where the file was created. Let me share my screen. It was created this one, new. So now, you can see here that it's going to have, these are the columns or the information that the CSV file it's going to have. The layer where it was added, the azimuth of the structures, the deep, the location for the X, Y, and Z coordinates, as well the length, which is the fold or the type of the fold or the structure, sorry, which is the rock type you assigned, the name, and the location too. This file, afterward, you can also use it in your Promine and import it with the geological mapping module in the import structures. So you already have your CSV file. You can go here, import structures, and import your CSV file. It should contain exactly the same columns that the exportation file has. Okay, so now let's continue on this part. We are almost close to end, so I will let you know if you have any questions up to here. Okay, so well, the next command is going to be sent to back. So basically, it does what it does. It's to you can see that in this case, these structures are at the bottom. So if you would like to send to the back the annotations, you can click on the command, select the block that you would like to project into the back, hit enter, and then select your drift and hit enter. Okay, let me turn back. Looks like then I need to select. Oh, okay. This block was not, as you can see, it's not at the top of the drift. Like it's not overlapping, or the drift is not overlapping the block. So that's the reason why it was not sent to the back. But we are going to make it here. I'm going to select this block. Let me make it here. And then, oh, sorry, I selected the wrong one. Select the block, hit enter, select the drift, hit enter, and that's it. As you can see, the annotation was sent to the back of your drift. It should, like, if I do it, for example, in this one, as the drift is not overlapping this block, it's not going to be sent there. Before going to create the wedges, I'm going to show you how to create a backgrid. And also with that one, we are going to learn how to move a face map and how to rotate a face map, okay? So in order to create backgrid, you need to have, I'm going to go back to the other drawing that has less information. So it's going to be easy for you to look at it. And I'm going to change my view here to 2D wireframe. So in order to create a back grid, we need to have a polyline that it's going to be our contour. So I'm going to turn off the snaps and create a contour right here and hit on enter. Right now it's at elevation 0, so I'm going to put it at elevation 12, 2002. And we can here check on the vertices. You can see there is a marker in, if I change the vertices, it's going to be a marker. So just to verify that all the points are at the same elevation or the vertices. So if I rotate it, yeah, it is at that elevation set. Okay. So let's return to plan. Now that we have our contour, we can click here on the background. So I'm going to select the polyline or the back rate contour. And then we have these different options. So the first one is to define the elevation. Automatically, the system is going to set the elevation of the polyline that we created. However, if let's imagine that I set or I let the polyline at elevation 0. So what I can do, it's modify the elevation of my grid, either selecting one from one point and pick a certain elevation, or select two different points and pick here to pick one side, the elevation of one side, and pick two to set the elevation of the other side, okay? But if you have your polyline at the certain elevation that you would like to get your grade or keep your grade, as you can see, the system automatically is going to take that elevation that in our case is 1202, okay? So we are not going to modify that part. Now, for the main grid spacing, this one that you can visualize right now, it's going to be the main grid. And once we click on OK, the secondary grid is going to be created, and it's going to, you can also, as in the previous option that we saw in order to create the section with the face map, you can set which is the main grid spacing and the secondary grid spacing. And finally, if you would like to modify the angle or pick a different origin for your grid, you can also pick any of these two options and, set an inclination or change the angle, and the same for the origin. And finally, you can select in which layer is going to be stored your grid created. So in order to create it, let's click on OK, and that's it. Automatically, the grid is going to be created. Now, let's say that we would like to move the face map. So we can click on this command that it's move face map, then select any of the lines that belongs to the grid, hit enter, and we have two options. Either set the grid elevation, that it's set a new value, or as before, between two different points, pick one point, pick the other point, and make the modification, or pick the elevation manually. So I'm going to pick elevation, and I'm going to, for example, let me activate the snaps. I'm going to pick this elevation. The system is going to take the value of that elevation, and we can click OK. And as you can see, the grid is going to take the new elevation. I'm going to undo the modification. Okay, now we have the grid again. And we are going to use the other option, that is set grid position. So what we can do basically, go back to plan, sorry. What you can do with the grid position is from one point, you need to specify which one is your base point. You can move it in the direction you would like to, to keep it now. So let's imagine we would like to put it here. And now if we rotate the face map, we can see the change. Okay, and finally, we have, we have the rotate face map, which is going to allow us basically rotate the grid. So the same, we need to pick any of the lines in our grid, hit enter, set a base point, and then select which. You can either type the new angle by keyboard. You can see that in this moment it's 66, or you can make the rotation manually. And then click once you have it in the position you would like to keep it, and that's it. The grid is going to be moved. This move command, rotate command can also be used in the section grids. And the same for the assign of the rock type, the assign of the custom polylines for the folds, for the different structures, sorry. can also be added in your backgrid. And well, something that I didn't show is that also these blocks for the structure, the information or the structure annotation can be also be added in the section view. In the ones that the structures, these ones that we created to set as litological contexts, you can also create, well, the structure annotation in order to afterward, for example, generate a surface. And now if you make an instruction now, if it's going to overpass or take or touch another different face map. Okay. All right. So now we are close to finish our webinar. I'm going to, well, this last command here is to erase grid lines. Basically, well, you click on it, you pick the grid that you would like to create. You need to delete the main grid and the secondary grid one by one. And that's it. And now let's go to wedges. So I would like to know if you have any questions so far before I finish with the wedges, or everything's clear. Okay, so well, now let's go to wedges. So basically here I created three different structures from this using this command, assigning the structure annotation. And what I did was create three different structures that are going to create, or if I create a plane or I make the extraction of those three different structures, I know they are going to create a wedge. Okay. So let me return to plan. I'm going to go here. As you can see, once you click on this command, it's going to have a menu, a drop down menu where you have three different options. Either create wedge, that from the selected structures is going to make a projection of the distances that you set. Remember, in our case, we set a distance of 5, and is going to make an extraction or a projection of those structures. And if they are, they according to the um, angle that it has, create the wedge if there is a wedge. With the next command, you now can display the data of the wedge, that it's going to be the tonnage, the people that create the wedge, and well, so on. And finally, the wedge search that is going to, according to the structures that you have in your drawing, is going to search and create the possible wedges from structure blocks. Okay, so for the for this free class, we are going to use these two first in order to create, because we only have one structure or one wedge that is going to be created, so it doesn't have sense if we search for wedges in this case. So I'm going to click on create wedge, and the system is going to ask you for, well, you can set which is going to be the vertical projection height, as well as how far the system needs to extend the structure distance to create the plane. So what it's going to do basically, it's to create a projection of 10 units from my structure, and then extended it from the border or from my structure ends, extend the projection 1 meter to this side and 1 meter to the other side. With that plane, the creation of that plane, or these three planes in this case, the system is going to determine if there is a wedge or there is not. So for the planes or the projections that are created, you can decide either if you would like to do not keep the structure surfaces or keep them. So if we do not select that option, automatically the structures, the projections are going to be created. So I'm going to let it as it is in order to show you how it looks like, but then we can delete it in order to visualize the wedge. So I'm going to click on OK. Then we need to select the structures and hit enter. Let me reopen the drawing again. Okay. Now we can try again. So let's click on OK. Let's select the structures and hit enter. So as you can see, the planes are well, the projection or the planes are created and according to the information I set, but the wedge is just right here. So to visualize it better, I'm going to delete the different projections because it was just to show you how it looks like. We can more see here plane. And finally, we have our wedge. Okay, now that we have our wedge, the next step is going to be see the information of that wedge. So I'm going to click on wedge data. We need to select the wedge. And the system is going to show you a pop-up window with the total tonnage of the wedge, the height, the person that created it, and finally the date when it was created. And that's it. So, well, everyone, that was basically for our class today in the face map module. We cover all the commands. I would like to know if you have any questions up to here or everything is clear. Remember that also if you have any questions afterward, after see this video, you can let us know. And let me share again my screen. All right, so well, thank you so much again for being part of this free class. Once again, my name is Paulina Gallego. If you have any questions, you can, well, write us at our email at client support, or and also will follow us in our social media as Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter too, to keep you up to date with the latest news and content. And in our YouTube web page, you can also find this course and more courses, records for other courses too. So, well, that was it. Thank you so much again, and have a good afternoon. And a happy new year too.